Betreklike voornaamwoorde. Usually when you think of betreklike voornaamwoorde, you think wie or wat. But we have to remember it also includes waar and your preposition, as well as daar and your preposition. So let's look in detail in all of them. Wie is for people, but wat can be for people, animals, or things. Wat changes to waar and your preposition gets connected to it, and that changes to daar and your preposition gets connected to that. The only preposition that changes completely is met, that changes to meer, as you can see at the bottom. I've highlighted it in blue, and vir changes to voor. So when we are using betreklike voornaamwoorde, you have to think group 3 conjunctions. Because when we are joining sentences, or when we are working with betreklike voornaamwoorde, our verb will always go to the back of our sentence. So how do we know when to use wie and when to use wat? We use wie if there's a preposition before the bracket. So sometimes they'll give it to us in a bracket like this, and here you can see there's a preposition. If the preposition is there, then automatically we'll pick wie. If there's a s indicating position after the bracket where we have to pick an answer, the answer would automatically be wie, because then in both these cases it will refer to a person. So basically, when they give it to you in a question and you have to pick wie or wat, and there's a preposition before the bracket, then you pick wie. If there's a s indicating position after the bracket, then you pick wie. When do we pick wat? Well, if there's no preposition before the bracket, we'll pick, and there's no s after the bracket, that is when we will choose wat. And of course, if it is something to do just with an animal or a thing, then we will pick wat. Now, when do we use waar and preposition or daar and preposition? Well, we'll use those when it is in the question for us. So on your on your left-hand side, you can see here, they've given you an example and they ask you wat plus met. Then you must say wat plus met equals waar meer. On the opposite side, it says when to use daar plus preposition. Once again, in the question I've said dit plus op. So when it's a case like that, we know we join it and that becomes daar op. There's also a case where they can give you two sentences, as here on the right hand side at the bottom. And in the sentence it says daar op. However, when we are writing the answer, the daar op or the daar and the preposition will always change to a waar and the preposition. How to join sentences with betreklike voornaamwoorde. Right, so let's see how to join two sentences using betreklike voornaamwoorde. Right, so the first rule is look at the similarities between the two sentences. The first sentence says, daar is die motor, sy het in die motor geklim. So what is the same here? We have die motor and we have die motor. So that's exactly the same, same. So we have now indicated what is the same in both sentences. Rule 2, delete what is the same in sentence 2. That means we are going to scratch out whatever we said was the same in sentence 2. Then we are going to see What we have scratched out from sentence 2. Is it a person, an animal, or an object? So here it says, sy het in die motor geklim. Die motor, it's an object, so it's not a person. Right, so now we're going to look. Are we going to use wat or waar and a preposition? So if there's no preposition, we are going to use wat. But there is a preposition. The preposition before the object is in. So if there's a preposition, we'll have to use waar and the preposition for an object or an animal. So since the motor is an object, there's a preposition which is in before the object. We are going to have to use the word waarin. If there was a preposition, if this preposition was before a person, we would have used preposition wie. We would have used wie. If there was a se after the points of similarity, then we would have used wie as well. Which brings us to our next rules. Now we are going to answer the question. So you'll see on your rules side, rule 4, 5, and 6 tells you how to finish writing your answer. So now we have to write everything that is the same from sentence 1 up to the point of similarity, which means daar is die motor. We need to write that whole sentence because the point of similarity is die motor. So we write the whole first sentence up to the point of similarity. Then we write our joining word, which we have made waarin. Where did this come from? The wat came from the fact that we have an object, die motor. The in came from the preposition before the object. So we write down our joining word, waarin. Then we're going to write the rest of sentence 2 with the verb to the back. The verb, as you can see, when we say the verb to the back, we are talking about the first verb of sentence 2. Will always move to the back because we are working with group 3 conjunctions. Betreklike Voornaamwoorde, when we're joining, is always group 3. So this head that I've pretty much covered in blue will move all the way to the back of your sentence. Sy geklim het is the 3 words left over. So daar is die motor waarin sy geklim het. Let's do number 2. Hier is die man, hy het die geld gesteel. So firstly, what is the same? Die man and hy is referring to the same thing. Hy is referring to a person, so we're looking at the purple by number 3 of our rule section. And are we going to just use a wie? Or are we going to use a wat? Because remember, wat can be for person or objects or animals. So if there is a preposition before the person, we use wie. There's no preposition there. If there's a se after it, we use wie. There's no se after there. So we are going to use wat. Hier is die man. We write that down. Our joining word wat. The rest of our sentence of sentence 2, verb to the back. Die geld gesteel het. Right, so why did we use the word wat? We used it because there was no preposition before the hy and there was no se after the hy. Let's do number 3. Die vrou sit in die kamer, haar man is dood. So what is the sentence about? What is the same in both sentences? The same is die vrou and haar. Okay, so now we're going to figure out what are we joining it with. Is there a preposition in the front? No. Is there a se at the back? No. So now I'm thinking, let's use wat. But what do you think? Why can it not be wat? Because it says haar man. So here, haar man is a little trick, but something for you to think about. Haar man indicates her husband, which means it indicates possession. Right, so now we're going to have to add our se. So let's write the points of similarity. Die vrou. So we write die vrou. Now we're going to write, because we are talking about a person and possession, we have to join with wie se. Die vrou, wie se. The rest of sentence 2. Wie se man dood is, sit in die kamer. So what did we do by number 3? We wrote what is the same from both sentences. Die vrou and haar is referring to the same person. So die vrou, we wrote that down from sentence 1 and we scratched it out from sentence 2. Our joining word became wie se. Why? Because the haar man indicates the possession. It was her husband. So wie se. Then we wrote the rest of sentence 2. Man dood is, or verb is, to the back, because remember, we are always sending the verb to the back. Then the rest of sentence 1. Sit in die kamer.